Hello friends, neighbors, and internet strangers. My name is Elly, and this is Ex-Fundie Diaries. You may be asking yourself, what is a fundie? A fundie is a fundamentalist Christian, and that's what I used to be. I am the oldest sibling in a white evangelical Christian fundamentalist family, and I was mostly homeschooled in a high-demand, religious, cult-like community. Whew, say that 5 times fast. A quick timeline of my story. When I was 16 in 2007, my abusive dad became even more abusive, and my family was thrown into chaos. 3 years later, when I was 19, I disobeyed him by moving out of his household and starting work in the real world at a retail store at the mall. It was at that real world job that I met the man that I would marry at age 21 in 2012. He was a Christian, but not the fundie kind. We had a child in 2013 when I was 22. And the year after that, 10 years ago from the present, I had a faith crisis where I began to doubt and question my entire upbringing and everything I was taught to believe. From there, it was a slow process of deconstructing all of my tightly held beliefs and grieving the loss of an identity I had had my entire life. In 2020, when I was 29, I started this channel to finally break the silence and start speaking up about my experiences. I called it Ex-Fundie Diaries because I have about 20 to 30 childhood journals that I documented my hopes, dreams, fears, and life in, and I have shared many of those entries on this channel. Sharing on Ex-Fundie Diaries has been life-changing for me. I have discovered an entire community here that has shown me that I matter and I'm not alone, and for that I am truly grateful. A lot has happened in my life since starting this channel 4 years ago. In 2022, after 10 years of marriage, I separated from my spouse, and our divorce is now in the process of being finalized. For the sake of privacy, I am not sharing any details from that event in my life. Last year, in 2023, my daughter and I moved in with my mom, and we're still living with her today. It's been a difficult but healing time, with grief and joy and all the emotions you could imagine. I'm a different person than the one that I was when I started this channel, and sometimes I feel embarrassed, thinking about certain things that I have shared so publicly, or some of the ways that I've talked about certain experiences, knowing that I have a different perspective on them now. Because people change and people grow, and it's a strange thing to have a past version of yourself preserved on the internet for anyone to find in the present day. To be honest, I have strongly considered privating this entire channel multiple times. But after a lot of thought, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave these videos public as an archived memoir of sorts, for 2 reasons. 1, I am choosing to love and honor that past version of myself. I would not be who I am today without all of my past selves. And 2, I have received more messages and comments than I can count from people I've never met telling me how my videos have helped them. And that alone is reason enough to keep this channel public. If you're watching this and you've stumbled across one of my videos because you're starting to deconstruct your faith, or question your upbringing, or reevaluate the beliefs that you have, I just want to start by giving you a huge air hug and telling you you're not alone and it's going to be okay. You're probably feeling scared, or angry, or sad, or maybe you're feeling excited and relieved. All of your feelings are valid. You are valid, and you are welcome here. I want to share some of the resources that have had the biggest impact on me in my faith deconstruction over the past 10 years of my life. The first one is this book, Faith Unraveled by Rachel Held Evans. I'm going to cry if I talk too much about her, but Rachel Held Evans was my big sister on the internet during those first few terrifying months of my faith crisis. And this book felt like a warm hug when I needed it the most. And honestly, it was the first time that I felt like, okay, maybe things are going to be okay. Next is the documentary Give Me Sex, Jesus by Matthew Barber. It is a beautiful takedown of purity culture, and it lays out the origins of how purity culture came to be in the United States. It is such a powerful documentary, and I wish that all Americans would watch it, regardless of how they were raised, because it's really important history to learn. But beyond that, it was just really validating for me and my purity culture trauma. The next two resources that I want to recommend are the Straight White American Jesus podcast by Dr. Bradley Onishi and a book by Dr. Anthea Butler called White Evangelical Racism: The Politics of Morality in America. Both of those resources are incredibly valuable for being able to break down and recognize and understand white Christian nationalism, and they've been extremely helpful for me personally in deconstructing the white Christian nationalism of my upbringing. Next, I would recommend checking out any music by Semler, especially the song Jesus from Texas. That song is like a love letter to and an anthem for anyone with religious trauma, but especially queer folks. And finally, if you are interested in commentary on the famous fundies on TV, like the Duggars or the Bates, I would recommend checking out Fundie Fridays and Gabs with Abigail here on YouTube. There are many amazing resources out there to check out, but the ones that I've mentioned here are my personal faith deconstruction starter pack. They're the ones that have had the biggest impact on me personally, and I hope that they are helpful for you too. I will put links to all of them down below so that you can check them out. At the beginning of this year, I started a completely new YouTube channel as a creative outlet to share whatever I want. If Ex-Fundie Diaries is chapter 1, where I deconstruct and tear down, then my new YouTube channel is chapter 2, where I learn and grow and build something new. You are welcome to join me over there as I continue my journey. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, fuck purity culture.